I think the difference between 2016 and 2020 is that while Hillary Clinton has, called Trump an illegitimate president and blamed her loss on things like the FBI investigation and Russia disinformation, she never claimed that, votes were switched. She didn't claim, she didn't refuse to concede the election. She didn't file a bunch of recount challenges. There were recounts in 2016, but they were filed by independent candidates like Jill Stein and stuff. She basically made noise, but didn't actually come for the institutions that certify the vote. She didn't do what Trump's doing now, which is like, if Trump were tweeting and making all this noise, but he wasn't filing all the lawsuits and forcing all the recounts and firing people at the Department of Homeland Security, that's the kind of stuff that's like him going the extra mile in delegitimizing the results of the election. I think Hillary did it in her own way, in a more political presidential way, where she issued carefully worded statements and went on these highbrow podcasts and did interviews with the New York Times and said things like, Russia, whatever. And all that stuff was also bullshit. I mean, there was some smoke there, but ultimately there was never any fire. But I do think there's a big difference between what she did and what Trump's doing now. And I think what Trump's doing now is quite a bit more dangerous.
Yeah. So, I'm having some thoughts as you're saying this. So first of all, it seems that the most damage Trump did as president is how he lost, because that's long-term damage. The 15% who now has a lack of trust in our in the American democracy, I feel like that might be the worst thing he's done yet. People might debate me on that, but that will have long-lasting effects. When trying to compare how Hillary approached it compared to Trump, I'm trying to understand. You're saying the way Hillary did it. So first of all, I thought the way the Democrats lost, they were also very big sore losers. I agree it was different than Trump, but they were definitely sore losers. They never took responsibility and reflected on what they could have done differently. They, as you said, they blamed the FBI investigation. They blamed Bernie Sanders. They blamed Russia. They never really looked within and tried to reflect and try to grow, as a party. And maybe I'm trying to hold a political party to too high a standard, but that's what I expect people to do in general. You lose, understand why. Don't blame those around you. But are you saying it's not, that approach wasn't as bad because it wasn't just so blatantly, it was kind of making excuses, but not just making up flat out lies?
I'm saying that Hillary Clinton, if she had done what Donald Trump is doing now, if she had refused to concede the election, if she had used the power of her legal team to try and throw out legally cast ballots all across the country, if she had nonstop tweeted television appearances, radio broadcast appearances, spreading baseless conspiracy theories of, videos of election machines switching votes or something and saying, oh, look, here was a Russian hack, whatever. If she did all of that in 2016, the damage that she would have done to the mindset of Democrats would have been far worse than what she did. Now, I still think she sowed doubt, and I still agree that, like a month ago, she did an interview where she called Trump an illegitimate president. I don't think Trump's an illegitimate president. I think he campaigned better than she did, and I think he won the election, and I think he won because more people voted for him. That's not illegitimate. But she didn't test the bounds of the institutions that are supposed to ensure the person who gets more votes ends up as president. Trump is doing that right now. I mean, meeting with electors and calling electors and trying to get them to buck the actual vote tally outcome is, that's like the most fundamental thing to our democracy. Hillary Clinton could have done that in 2016, but she didn't. And that kind of thing is like, if God willing, I think the odds of it are extremely, extremely low. But if something like that were to happen, people, that's going to cause like civil unrest. People will pour out in the streets, Like that's the kind of thing where like if two people who are supposed to represent and are legally bound to represent the popular vote of their state refuse to do that and try and push through their own preference for president, all hell's going to break loose. And that is like, the fact that he's not succeeding at doing that doesn't make it any more okay. I mean, I think we have to talk about it as if the outcome were real, if he got what he was trying to do.